No, no, no. I'm not picking you up for two very good reasons. Firstly, you're not a little baby anymore. And secondly, when you do sit on my lap, you manage to crease my clothes terribly. My mother's words came as a bit of a shock to me. I had shown love to everyone I'd come in contact with, and had my love returned by all. So it wasn't surprising that I'd anticipated that it would be just the same with Shirley. After all, our reunion, following her return from the nursing home, had gone tolerably well, despite a few comments about the lack of quality of my hair and the fact that I looked much better now that I'd lost my initial newborn baby fat. Yet, that special close relationship I'd hoped for seemed destined not to be. I did come to realize, however, around the time of one of my first birthdays, that Shirley preferred interacting with adults rather than with children, and that she spoke to me in the same manner of communication she displayed to all children. My birthday party was in full swing. Little kids were running around in all directions, screaming, shouting, and presumably having a jolly good time. I, by contrast, was in the kitchen, engrossed in watching Joseph, my Nana's cook, creatively apply the last drops of icing to my cake, which was almost ready to be taken outside for the usual candle-blowing ceremony. Dear Joseph had crafted an ordinary round sponge cake into the most beautiful face and hair of a doll, with his clever application of icing, and was happily attending to the finishing touches under the approving gaze of my ever-appreciative grandmother. Shirley, by contrast, observed proceedings from a distance, while paging through a magazine and engaging in her favourite pastime, smoking. Suddenly, the kitchen door burst open and a small girl ran inside, crying bitterly. "For goodness sake, what a noise!" said Shirley. "What on earth—"
"That nasty little boy. That nasty little boy, Brucey. He popped my balloon. And now I'm the only one who doesn't have a balloon."
"Oh, good grief," replied Shirley, while inhaling deeply from her cigarette and then exhaling long and hard. "You must never, ever let little boys get the better of you," she said. "Why don't you just go straight back out there and spit in his eye and choke him?" Shirley burst into laughter, well pleased, no doubt, with her recommendation. The little girl stopped crying and abruptly left the kitchen. "Shirley, you should be ashamed of yourself," said my very annoyed Nana. "How many times must I tell you not to talk to children as though they were adults? That may be the punchline to the latest joke doing the rounds in your circle, but it's certainly not an appropriate comment to be directed at a child. I hope her mother doesn't get to hear about this." Shirley laughed uproariously this time. "Oh, don't be such a wet blanket. Now that you remind me, I think it was her mother who first told me this joke. Have I ever told you the beginning?" But before Nana could reply, the door opened in a flurry once more, and the same little girl reappeared, crying more loudly than ever before. "Oh, no! And now what's the problem?" asked an exasperated Shirley.
I "Oh, well, all right then," said Shirley, choosing not to meet the furious stare of my Nana. "Let's go outside again, shall we, and get you another balloon. This time you can even choose your favourite colour." Shirley now looked at Nana, hoping for redemption. But it just wasn't forthcoming.